Dear friends, there was something that came up earlier on this spring, which has really been sticking in my mind. And that is that the person who has gained stream entry has four qualities. And one of the qualities is that they possess virtue, which is beloved, lovable to the noble ones. It's just such an uplifting and inspiring idea of loving kindness as being of observing precepts, observing sila, holding morality, as being the expression of goodwill, the expression of kindness, wherein a person has had that eye-opening moment where they not only understand fully the whole problem of dukkha, the dukkha of samsara, the dukkha of the round, and how much suffering and disappointment the human being is capable of, but also realizing that there is an escape. And then with that knowledge that it's possible to escape from the being trapped in this round of dukkha, then the motivation springs up. One would really, really want to practice with a lot of enthusiasm and consistency to reach to that escape. One would see so strongly that how much danger there is whenever some habitual reaction comes along which is negative, whether it be based on fear and protecting some kind of a survival instinct, or whether it be based on greed and comforting or stress and anxiety through picking up some kind of sensual pleasures, or whether it be through opinions and aversions and conceit, which result in some kind of a hostility, wherein it seems to be more important to be right and to win the argument rather than to see how much danger there is in picking up and giving any room to those old habits. One becomes, I think it says in the sutta, it's called anicca sankhara. That phrase is sometimes translated as not wishing for the formations in the world. And the way that phrase is explained is that if any kind of thought of anger, resentment, grudge, cruelty, greed, any kind of negative thought at all that comes up, the mind quickly is horrified and just wants to move away from that. But then on the other side of the equation, from that withdrawing oneself from anything that presents a danger, in order to start building up this island of safety for the path to evolve in us, to lead us to fully realize the escape. At the same time, there's this other positive side that comes along, which is this kind of tender, compassionate, nurturing attitude of wanting to protect and take care of the whatever in us is wholesome, whatever in us is got the potential to develop along the path. And then the practical application of this transformed set of intentions comes out in applied morality. Just the same way that mindfulness can be conceived in terms of a orderly, thorough directing of awareness towards the foundations of mindfulness, towards the body, the feelings, the states of mind, or the citta, and the aspects of the Dhamma that the patterns of the Dhamma that can be that can emerge from that. And so then it's very simple. Get out of being lost in conceptual proliferation, and just bring the mind back to direct awareness towards these simple categories. So that's a very simple procedure of mindfulness, which helps us to learn how to direct awareness. And so then there's something that's just like that, that's completely simple, that is the baby step, or the framework in which we can learn how to direct our intentionality and to make more and more consistent choices, which are described in the second point of the Noble Eightfold Path, that's called the right thought, Samma Sankappa, which is the thought of renunciation, which is free from greed, the thought of loving kindness, which is free from ill will, and the thought of compassion, which is free from cruelty, or free from any intention to harm. We were speaking about this in the community, about how the cultivation of kindness nurtures and supports the development of mature practice of ethics and morality. So if we really have that sensitivity not to harm, how could you possibly take a life if you didn't want to harm them? How could you possibly steal something? How could you possibly tell a falsehood when you would see how gravely those unskillful deeds would create a sense of danger for others, could cause grief and sorrow for others, and could also create tremendous danger for ourselves, and could put the mind into a pattern of being unsettled, disturbed, remorseful, defensive, and so on. So then the intention or the wish of loving kindness is kind of like a foundation for developing morality, and the precepts themselves, in a way, are kind of could be a kind of a shortcut. That if we have found out that in the past I killed living beings in the past, and that was harmful to me, harmful to others. But now I found out that the Blessed One recommends not killing, and I can see very clearly how being considerate and kindly towards beings, one would never kill them. And so then non-killing becomes a bit of a shortcut that makes it very easy and quick, so that if usually the most common circumstance where I don't know about you, but for a lot of people, insects are very easy to kill. And so if there's a mosquito biting you, it's very easy to harm it. Or if there's some little small bugs, like at nighttime, they get onto your computer screen or your book that you're trying to read, and you have these insects that are in front of you, and it's something. It's very easy to squish them. But if you have established this kind of shortcut, you remember, oh, right, I don't kill. We can remember, I don't kill. And so then, all the more so in much more grave and serious matters of larger beings that are more similar to ourselves, like other human beings, one would never kill them. And what came out in our conversation was actually it works both ways. If a person adopts a policy of not killing, then in an almost miraculous way, the tendency to have aversion and hatred towards insects, for example, is replaced by the feeling of tenderness and kindness. So instead of having a fear of insects, or instead of having irritation with insects, or instead of having a dull indifference towards the life of insects, it is replaced with that actual kindness. So the synergy is cutting in both directions. In some of the places in the sutras, when they speak about non-killing, the Buddha suggests that one would personally give up killing, and one also would be feel very comfortable and free to speak up about non-killing, and to recommend, whenever the occasion arises, to recommend non-killing and the happiness that can accrue from that for oneself and for others. And likewise for all of the fundamental precepts, that there's that pulling back from the brink, as I said before, this anicca sankhara, this not having the wish for anything in the accumulating anything in the conditioned world, that means that if any impulse comes along or any habit comes up which is perpetuating us going around and around in samsara, we feel that horror and we feel that pulling back from it. And then on the positive way, when you see the one you love, whatever anger or irritation you might have felt can be easily evaporated and replaced with a courteous consideration and a care in speaking with sensitivity in a way that's not going to be harmful towards that being, and a care with our physical body, that we'd be careful not to harm one another. At Dhamma we have some residents in our community who are older and medically vulnerable, and since we developed all these good habits through those years of the pandemic, now it's possible to be very conscientious, like, washing the hands, because I don't want to carry anything bad and give any disease to my neighbors. I would clean the bathroom after using the bathroom in order to make it both safe and sanitary and pleasant for the next person who comes along. And this is not done out of, just because I like cleanliness or something like that. No, it's coming from kindness, coming from the wish to have a safe and supportive environment for others, for my companions in the holy life. The sutta on the benefits of happiness says that when the ceto vimutti, the liberation of one's intentions or of the mind through loving kindness, when that's cultivated, developed, and practiced, made into a foundation for the practice, kept up, consolidated, and well developed, then there are these 11 benefits. It says that one would sleep at ease, wake happily, and not have bad dreams. This is both because of the way in which kindness can cure us of all kinds of mental obsessions and reactivity. I don't know about you, but when I tossed and turned in the old days, I sometimes used to toss and turn and not be able to sleep through the entire night because of some kind of feeling of upset. And usually it was because I got something that I didn't want, like an insult, or I didn't get something that I wanted, like I wanted to be loved. And when the practice of loving kindness is developed, one is no longer depending on those external factors for one's happiness, and instead the protection that comes from protecting oneself from the reaction of greed, protecting oneself from the reaction of aversion. It's a far more higher priority to protect oneself from anger, protect oneself from resentment, than it is to protect oneself from occasionally being on the receiving end of an insult. And so then, if somebody is, expressing something that seems to come across with a negativity, well, this is mature ethics, is to be able to see through the surface of that into the what may be painful or distressing for that other individual, and also to look quickly, be able to look deeply within ourselves and see how our own self-protective reaction, which wants to push back on anything unpleasant, is actually based on something which is it's not wholesome. It's like as if there's an immature reactivity that wants to live, that wants to be safe, that wants to be nourished. And in a way which is unwise, pursues those goals in a way which is actually protecting the ego or protecting the self, protecting the self-delusion, building up the self-delusion, nourishing and feeding the self-delusion, and we at the base of it, there's something actually that's naturally good. All beings have the desire for happiness, and this desire of happiness, when it's coupled with delusion, results in this constant building up of the self. But this desire of happiness, when it's coupled with wisdom, then sees the danger in anything which is involved in building up the self, and then is pursuing a different strategy altogether, a strategy that's based on having the vision of the Dhamma, knowing that there's an escape, and knowing that there's a path to the full realization, and then just wanting to do whatever is supportive to the full realization and cultivation of the potential of this path of practice, and which is absolutely not wanting to let one penny's worth of anything into our life, if we can avoid it, something which is opposite and harmful to our keeping situated and keeping well engaged on this path of practice. To me, that's the good sleep and the good waking happily is having a different kind of happiness altogether. Humans love you and non-humans love you because you have the morality which is lovable. Humans are safe with you because you're not going to harm them. Humans may love you because you can actually see them, not as some convenient person that you can get something out of them or something like that, or not as some kind of a stereotype or nothing like that, but actually you can see them deeply. You can really see them. And there's nothing that's more uplifting and lovable for a human than to feel that somebody else is able to really see them and to be open-minded enough to be able to see them as they are and to accept them just as they are. So that's how lovable it is. And non-humans as well, if you can see them. That the deities and the spirits and the invisible beings and the animal beings, they can tell when you're filled with anger and hatred, or when you're filled with violence, or when you don't care about killing. Or if you think, if you see, some non-human being and you think, oh, that would be a nice dinner, that's, creating danger all over the world, creating harm, creating conflict. And that's why those beings might like to bite you first before you can eat them. So the deities will protect you. And then you can't be harmed by fire, poison, or the knife. And this is because you have realized that one's material body, or one's living body, or the life force, or the lifespan could be injured by fire, poison, or the knife. But whatever danger is coming from those directions is nothing compared with the danger of anger, the danger of hatred, the danger of committing unwholesome deeds of violence, cruelty, and exploitation. The mind quickly enters into samadhi. If we understand Samma Samadhi in this dispensation, in the Buddha's teaching, as characterized by the mind becoming secluded from craving and secluded from unwholesome states, so then the constant practice of kindness and the joyful practice of sila is making those hindrances to be less and less a feature all day long. And if the hindrances become not a feature of our life all day long and all the postures, then when we sit down for the cushion practice, how much the easier and the quicker it will be to enter into samadhi, to enter into meditation. Your face is clear and bright. and you don't feel lost when you die. At the last moment, we would wish that our minds can be calm, settled, mindful as possible, according to, however much mental faculty is still left when we come close to the end of our life. It's certainly true that when a person is younger, they may have more capacity to control their thoughts and to suppress unskillful and unwholesome thoughts. And then later on in life, when one's mental capacity becomes diminished, then a person could become less capable of controlling their mind. This is why it sometimes happens that elderly people who are very, become feeble-minded in their old age and losing that control. Sometimes a person like that could become full of anxiety or full of vulgarity and sexual vulgarity and full of irritation, different kinds of negativities like that, that in the past when they were young, they were able to kind of, at least keep a polite attitude at top and suppress those other tendencies. But then sometimes it happens in the last part of life that those tendencies can come out, and we don't have the strength to suppress them anymore. So it's really this is one of my ideas. If I might, it's possible that I might have a long life. Any of us could live long enough to become senile, and if we will really have this sila and loving kindness together as a dominating, significant, important part of our path of practice for many years, not just once in a while, but really very constantly, then those unwholesome habits of the mind actually can die down, so that then we can become the type of feeble-minded old person who's like really nice and they're just filled with love. They're just calm, they're clear, and they're fundamentally happy because they have a clear conscience. They're not afraid of dying. They've taken care of all the demons that they had within their psychology, have been all taken care of. And so then when the mind becomes, if the mind happens to become weak for a while near the end of life, there's no more demons left to come out. And so this would be an example of one of the ideal ways to approach death would be to approach having already taken care of, already done the work. So the stables have been, the Aegean stables of all the negativities in our mind has been cleaned out. And there's nothing more that needs to be cleaned out. We just can wait for this life force to come to its finish. That would be dying without feeling lost. And it said in the 11 benefits that if you don't penetrate any higher, you will be reborn in the Brahma realm. That's the beautiful heavenly realm, which is a space as long as it lasts, which is a very pleasant space. Those who have gained stream entry, or those who are a once returner, can be reborn in a heavenly realm. And then it's possible to go from a heavenly realm to enlightenment. Or if you're just good but you didn't have any wisdom, it's also possible to go to a Brahma realm and enjoy the heaven for a long time, and then later on come back to a human realm and still have got a lot of work to do if you're so lucky as to be able to hear the Dhamma and be able to practice, and then be able to realize the highest. So that's a few thoughts that I have, and I would like to invite any questions or sharing, if any of you would like to add your experience with the connection between your sila and your kindness, or your experience with the significance of this practice of kindness. Oh, Richard, I was just going to call on you because I have observed in you a really excellent practice of kindness. I know that you and I have something in common in terms of a certain intellectual quality, and I'm very happy to discuss like some things that are like theoretical in the Dhamma with you. In these classes, those are in this class have seen this. But then some of the other teachers don't have the same preference. And what I see in you is you have been, like in a way which is so sensitive, polite, and considerate, not bringing out all those concepts when the person leading the course has got a different type of orientation. And that's just a perfect example of speech which is considerate and kind, a sign of good ethics. Now I'd like to know what you wanted to say.
Thank you, Ayya. This idea of cruelty, I've come to see that the desire to enjoy the world in various ways, like say, you want to take rebirth, right? Well, in order for you to take rebirth, there has to be a father and mother, and they have to be stuck in samsara, unless they transcend it before you die, right? Or before they die. So it's actually a type of cruelty. I'm not sure if people can quite understand where I'm going with this, but in order to have a partner in your sensual desires and in rebirth and your human experiences and everything, all the people that you're interacting with on that type of psychological level, you might say, you're actually kind of being cruel with them because you're expecting them to continue on with these same types of hopes, dreams, and desires and everything, and continue on in this birth and death, birth and death, birth and death, samsara. So I'm not saying that one needs to become morose or despondent about it and thinking about this, but like, and I'm not saying this as a complaint in any way, But I had parents that were very unhappy with me, having me as a child. And I really feel bad about it now because by coming into that relationship with them, I was a source, rightly or wrongly, of their misery. And that's sort of a cruel, a cruel thing to think that, okay, I was participating in that, whether or not their judgment of me was right or wrong. Um, that doesn't matter, but it's just the fact that I was a participant in that activity, was quite cruel, really, to other beings. So, anyways, that was one point I wanted to make. Uh, Another point was you started off tonight with meditation on loving kindness. Now, there are some famous teachers, although he passed away recently, Bhante Vimalrasi, who taught the four Brahma Viharas, and he stressed the idea of smiling. That you need to smile. And there's also Lee Brasington, who I think he was a disciple of Ayya Khema,
Yes, he was.
if I'm not wrong on that. And he also stresses in his teaching of meditation of the need to smile. Now, it so happens that sometime recently, scientists have discovered that when you smile, it causes certain endorphins and things like that. Dopamine, which increases happiness, and serotonin, which reduces stress, to automatically start being pumped in your body. So when Buddha talks about the breath meditation, and he says, okay, I'm breathing in long, I breathe in long, breathing out, long, I breathe out, and then short, and then the whole body of breath, and then tranquilization. Now he says that when you reach this tranquilization beyond the five hindrances, gladness automatically awakens in you. And when a person is glad, they smile. And he says, when gladness like this awakens and you past the five hindrances, he says, samadhi is not far away. So you can see that all these things are connected, even if one may not totally agree with the jhanic teachings of Bhante Vimalrasi or Lee Brasington or something like that. You can see that this idea of awakening the smile, which helps to tranquilize, to get you to that tranquilization situation, and then will help you to springboard sort of like into the jhanas. So I thought understanding that principle might be helpful for people. There's no need to be struggling in meditation. It's better to have like a positive attitude, like, okay, I'm on the way. This is going to lead to my ending of samsara, and that type of positive thought can help you bring out that kind of smiling quality and help you enter into the jhana at a later time. And anyways, that's all I wanted to say. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you. Susan.
Thank you, Ayya. Wonderful talk, another one. And I'm going to stay off camera. I just got off of a flight. But I wanted to add my experience. Something I remember is how this practice is cultivated so much like you're mentioning in myself. And one of those is the ability to, I would say, just to recognize kindness in other beings is so touching to me, and it just keeps really when I was younger, before I practiced this path, I would see it, but I don't think I had the words to understand what it was, so I would miss it. But now I know what that is, that kindness. I see it. I know it in myself. I know it in others when I see it, and I know it in animals when I see them. So it's very touching, and it even can bring tears to my eyes too sometimes, just the kindness of others. And I think that's from practice, and it builds it in me. And maybe it's like it once it starts flowing, it through the years it starts just getting more, you know, more developed, uh and I think maybe it even works into sympathetic joy. Sometimes I just share in that kindness with others, is that it's like a joy that I see their joy, and it all kinds of overlaps, all these four Brahma Viharas. I feel I experience a lot of uh, sympathetic joy with nature too. I feel it's full of a lot of just generosity, and anyway, I and that builds it in me, and then it feeds my own uh these qualities in myself. And I feel when I am contributing to others in these ways, I feel it too, like it serves them somehow, not that it's not in my control, but I feel that too, because I know I experience it, and it uplifts me. So there's this sharing. Thank you. That was all. And also, I too, I'll just throw this in here. I feel some of these things, I don't know if you've all experienced this, but I notice, oh, there's another uh for me, verification of rebirth. Sometimes I think, oh, I came in with certain things, and I see, oh no, that doesn't just happen. I had some of these qualities as from really young, non-violent, non-harm to animals and things, just for whatever reason. My family wasn't like that, but just, and I'm sure it comes from uh my uh karma. Some of I just know it. Sometimes I've had that with other things too, where uh it's a personal thing, I think it's not provable. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing.